Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're taking a look at the Arteck HD197, a multi-device compatible keyboard with built-in trackpad that doesn't cost an absolute fortune and actually seems to be pretty well made. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we're taking a look at the Arteck HD197 multi-device wireless keyboard. This uses both Wi-Fi 2.4 GHz and also Bluetooth technologies to connect up to 3 devices at once with 3 buttons on the top there. It also has a pretty decent construction quality, comes in at an exceptionally good price and is potentially a good alternative for the good old Logitech K200 Plus or potentially the Logitech K780. There are quite a few design similarities between both of those and this one from Artech, and I think they've actually managed to do a pretty decent job of combining the plus points of both of these but put it into a much lighter, much stronger and much cheaper form factor. So let's take a closer look. So we'll start off as we do with unboxing with the packaging itself, and as you can see it is extremely minimalist. It's basically just got the branding on there, so Arteck HD197. Wireless 2.4 GHz USB and Bluetooth touch keyboard. You've also got frustration-free packaging, which basically means it's very minimalist. A little bit of information on the back there, not a great deal to speak of. And you can already tell from the size of the packaging, this is a very slimline and compact device. When you actually open up the packaging, you'll see there's actually very little protection on here, so potentially that is something to be concerned of, although it is very strong and sturdy, so it's not too much of a concern. Would have liked to have seen a little bit of foam padding in there just to protect it in transport, but it does appear to have arrived in working condition, so you can't ask for much more than that. You also get included a user manual, which actually is pretty decent and goes through all of the basics in both English and Chinese. It tells you what the keyboard does, how to charge it, and all the specifications, etc. So I'll leave that on the screen for you to take a closer look. You also get a little bit of a customer service nod here. So have you had a good experience? Have you had a bad experience? And there are contact details inside there, so should either of those be applicable, then you can get in touch with them, and you can actually register the product with Artech and claim a 2-year warranty. Obviously you get the keyboard as well, and you do get a, well, it's pretty obvious what this is, a charging cable inside. Sadly, this is a micro USB type cable. It's actually difficult to get out of the packaging, so not quite frustration free, but you do get a charging cable nonetheless, so that's USB type A to micro USB. Shame it's not USB type C, that would have been a really nice thing to see, but most people will probably have a micro USB cable knocking around somewhere, so if you do lose it or whatever, then potentially you can charge it using that. And of which you will need to charge it up because there are no batteries included. It does have a built-in lithium ion battery in there, which will give you somewhere in the region of about 64 hours of a continual use, although realistically it has got an extremely aggressive sleep function on there. So basically it goes to sleep pretty much almost instantly after you've finished either moving the trackpad or the keyboard, which in some cases is going to be a pain. If you're using this for potentially gaming or something, then you might find it slightly annoying. To wake the keyboard or the mouse, all you do is either press the space bar or just tap a button and it will actually come back to life, which takes a millisecond or so, and then you can carry on typing. For some people you may find that slightly annoying, and certainly for gamers I would say this is probably not the ideal choice. So taking a closer look at the keyboard, as you can see this is effectively a 10 keyless design, so there's no number pad. That has been conveniently replaced with a trackpad, which isn't massive but certainly is usable, and you've got 2 buttons on there, left and right click, no center click or anything like that. It does support gesture controls as well, so you can use pinch to zoom, etc., or drag to scroll with 2 fingers, that kind of thing, which is awesome. Would have liked to have seen it a little bit bigger, if I'm completely honest with you. In terms of the Logitech K400 Plus, it's a very similar size, and again the same applies to that. I would have liked that to have been a little bit bigger also. And for those of you that are interested in what the keyboard actually sounds like, so let's do a very quick type-in test, and you can hear what the keys sound like. They are chiclet style, so there is going to be a little bit of a clack to them. So yeah, you get the general idea there. They're not mechanical keyboard switches, so yeah, but there is quite a nice bit of feedback to it, and there's actually very minimal bounce actually in the deck itself. It is extremely solid, as I've possibly already mentioned. Very minimal flex to it, very well made. When it comes to the trackpad is essentially silent. The texture on it isn't quite glass. There is a little bit of a texture to it, so it doesn't slide particularly well, but I actually prefer that, so it gives you a little bit more accuracy. The mouse buttons themselves, not entirely uniform in terms of where you press them. So more centralized clicks are going to be better. But yeah, overall, absolutely fine for what it is and for what it costs. I think it's a fantastic bargain. I should also mention, although this is compatible with USB for connectivity and also Bluetooth, sadly the actual USB cable is for charging only. There is no data running through it, so if you find the battery does go flat, you can't use it as a wired keyboard, although saying that you can still charge the device whilst using it at the same time with either Bluetooth or wireless. So as we've just discussed the USB cable, let's take a look at the connectivity on the back there. So there is just a single micro USB type connection on there. Next to that, you've got a physical on-off button, although due to the, like I said, very aggressive power saving, potentially you'll never need to turn it off anyway, but if you're not going to use it for prolonged periods or you're packing it away, then obviously do turn it off. That does make sense. If you're concerned of how much battery life you've actually got, because this is driverless and has no software that comes with it, you're probably going to be wondering how much battery charge have you actually got. So when the device is actually on, what you can do is press the power button on the end there, which looks like a battery, and you can press it and you'll get a flashing indication on the second press because we've got to wake it up first, and it flashes a number of times. If it flashes 4 times, it's 100%, flashes 3 times, 75%, 2 times, 50%, and 1 time is 25%. If the light continuously flashes, that means the battery is almost exhausted and needs recharging, of which they do suggest you charge it for anywhere between 1 hour to 3 hours to fully charge the battery. In terms of battery charging, when you're charging, the battery light will be red. When the light goes solid green, that means the battery is fully charged and ready to use. So other buttons that we've got, now this is compatible with iOS devices, if you want to use it with an iOS device, and they have actually printed on some of the extra legends for iOS devices. And of course you can use it with mobile phones, both Android and Apple devices. You can do that via Bluetooth, should you wish to, although depending on your device you may or may not get full usage out of it, and some of the buttons may not work. Some things such as the trackpad may be a little bit hit or miss depending on your device. Other buttons of note, there is a function lock button. So if you want to use the keys along the top as function keys, F1 through to F12, then you do have to press the function button. If you want to keep those permanently set as being function keys, you can press the function lock button. Although, having said that, for some people you may find that a little bit challenging because you have to press the function key and space to disable the trackpad. So if you've got your function lock on and you press the space bar, then your trackpad is going to stop working. If you're using a separate mouse, obviously not an issue, but if you are using the trackpad, then potentially that could cause some problems and some confusion. Again, if you want to re-enable the trackpad, just press function and space again and it will reactivate. Some other buttons have actually got the function key toggle, so such as the home button, page up, page down, and end, which are remapped to the arrow keys. Some of the keys are also convex, whereas most of them actually on the keyboard are concave. Very minimal travel on them as well, so they are typical kind of chiclet style keys, although they do have those nice recesses, and if you're kind of touch typing, you can feel the difference. So some of the buttons down here are more rounded, facing outwards, rather than being dipped in. Overall, a very nice typing experience, and I actually liked it a lot. If you flip the device around, you can see there is a USB dongle, which is actually in the back here, and is actually magnetic as well. And if it's in place, try and shake it out and it won't come out. And actually while we're doing that, when it comes to flexibility, it's actually a very stiff keyboard. Even though it is remarkably thin and remarkably light, there's virtually no flex in the deck at all. So it's very, very well made. So with the USB dongle, plug that into a USB device, and then when the device is switched on, press the button here with the USB symbol on it and it will connect. When it's flashing, that means it's not connected currently, so if you plug this into a device, it will work. If you want to connect up to a different device, then you can press one of the Bluetooth buttons, of which there are 2. So you can connect up 2 separate Bluetooth devices. To actually go into pairing mode, press and hold the button for around about 8 seconds until the blue light flashes fast. And that is now in pairing mode, so you can go into your device, go into Bluetooth pairing and connect it up as you would normally. So that's all well and good. If you want to go back to USB, press the USB. So very easy to actually change between the various modes there. No problems with that whatsoever. In terms of the illumination, there is also a caps lock light, so if you want to have that, you certainly can do. Obviously no need for a number lock because we don't have a separate keypad on there. But overall, I think they've done a particularly good job on this. I actually quite like the semi-brushed aluminium look towards the top there. I think it contrasts quite nicely with the black keys and the blue buttons there. It's got some nice colour options there. The keyboard itself isn't backlit, unfortunately, although if you do want a backlit version of this, they do one which doesn't have the Bluetooth but does have the Wi-Fi for a very similar price. And actually we should talk about pricing. I actually picked this up for about £23 from amazon.co.uk. Obviously we'll put some links in the video description for you. Very, very frequently these are sold by various sellers on Amazon for random pricing, anywhere from about £20 up to about £30, potentially with voucher codes and offers, etc, etc. So I would expect to pay somewhere in the region of about £25 as an average. When it comes to something like the Logitech K400 Plus, that one also is quite often actually on offer, can be picked up for as little as about £20, but generally retails for somewhere in the 40s. If you're looking for a Logitech keyboard with the functionality of the various connectivity on Bluetooth, then you're probably looking at something like the K780, which does have that feature, but unfortunately doesn't have the trackpad, which I feel is one of those things which would have been very nice to have on that, although space not permitting it, unfortunately. So if you do want a combination of the flexibility of the K400 Plus, but you do want the Bluetooth connectivity of the K780, and you want to save yourself an absolute ton of money, then I think this is very much worth a look. The distance that can be used is up to about 30 foot, so 10 meters, which is typical for Bluetooth devices, and wireless is approximately the same. You can quite happily sit on your couch or sofa in most rooms and still be able to access your either set-top boxes, your PC behind the computer, Xboxes, etc, etc. So overall, I think this is a fantastic device. Battery life appears to be absolutely excellent. I fully charged it and it doesn't seem that the battery has actually gone down at all in my usage. So yeah, highly recommended. If you want to check it out for yourselves, there will be links in the video description. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.